see me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can see you. Looking lovely.
We're live. We're live. We're live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's Emigrate Open Day for January 2021. You're welcome. Let me just confirm that I'm audible. Can you hear me? You can just drop in the chat to make sure. I know you can't unmute yourself, but please confirm if you can hear me. Um, okay, so can you see my screen as well? I'm just trying to get feedback. Okay, so thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Emigrate Open Day for January 2021. Today, we're going to be having a guest on the open day for today. We'll be having a guest share with us some information, share with us some things in terms of our experience and so on. But before we get on to our guest for today, I would just like to share some information about Emigrate. It's the tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. We also call it tech-enabled visa opportunity. Our focus, as always, is tech for Emigrate. And I'll just say that our objective with the Emigrate program and with Emigrate as a service is to help people become globally attractive. There are two ways we do that. One is either you have a globally attractive tech profile or you have a globally attractive tech-enabled business. The truth is that, yes, I know many of us are attending this open day because of visa, right? To say, oh, I'm interested in knowing about tech-enabled visas. However, for us at Emigrate, we believe that there's life after the visa. Even when you get into your new country, even when you relocate to that country, there's still a lot of things you will need to do. You still are going to work. You are still going to build businesses. You are still going to need to make money. And so because of that, we see the visa itself as a side effect of your globally attractive profile. What that means is that we are looking at things beyond the fact that the country wants you, the target country in this case wants you. Now, if you are in tech, and I'm not saying that you need to be in the technical side of tech, it could be the business side of tech or the technical side, or and then you are passionate about what you do. Because the truth is that for this emigrate pathway, there are many different visa pathways. It's not going to be something just a walk in the park. You need to show yourself as distinct. If you are focusing on a business, you need to show that business as distinct. And there are ways to do it. It's not difficult, but it requires work. It requires planning. And it requires the fact that you need to pay attention to some of the things that you need to do. So you need to be passionate about tech, and then you need to be interested in obviously attaining global mobility for yourself, for your business, and for whatever it is that you do. How it started for us as immigrants is the fact that we were solving an internal challenge. We discovered that we knew some things that many people around us did not know. Some of these things we stumbled on, some of these things we were not, we just discovered that, oh, we knew this thing. And many people did not know about some of these opportunities that we'll be talking about today. And so I for the last Emigrate session, we spoke a lot about Emigrate, the service, and we drilled down into some of the key target countries of from some of the key target countries. I will just show this slide before we then come and before we invite our guests for today on, right? And for some of us, this may be the major slide that you are most interested in, because when we say we want to share with you tech-enabled visas and routes, you can Google a lot of this, right? For the UK has something called the Startup Visa. The UK has the Innovator Visa. The UK has the Global Talent Visa, which is also called Tech Nation Visa. That's what we're going to be spending most of the time for today's session. That's what we're going to be talking about. And this January, the UK started the point-based system, which is the skilled worker route. For the US, there's the O1A plus EB2 that enables you to settle in the US. For Canada, there's the startup visa. With the startup visa, you actually get permanent residency immediately. And in fact, if your startup gets accepted, you can get temporary residency while you are planning and you are applying for your permanent residency. And gets interesting is the fact that you don't have to have a running business or a running startup. You can actually just have an idea. There's a key thing you need to do, which is get into one of the incubators that the government of Canada has approved for such a route. In France, there's something called the French Tech Visa, and then there are many others as well. There's the European Startup Visa. There's the freelance visa, the freelancer visa. There's the digital nomad visa for different countries. You will find out that in Europe, for example, they are creating many startup visa categories. And this is important for you to know because these countries want you. If you are globally attractive, if you can show yourself as someone that is desirable, that will improve the economy, they actually want you. And so that's where I'm going to stop. For those of us that didn't attend the last open day, we made the video available to everyone. So you can actually watch that video to find out a bit more about some of these visa routes. We drill down into some of the visa routes in that particular session. All right, so welcome again, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to stop sharing screen now, and then I'm going to, she's already on. I'm going to invite our guest. It's an internal guest for this edition. As I mentioned at the last open day, I will be having guests, starting with this edition where we have an internal guest. But starting and then next edition, we'll be having some people outside our organization. So I'd like to welcome Faith Adeshemowo. She's the CEO of Social Lender, and she's going to be our guest for today's Emigrate Open Day. We will be focusing on the UK route, specifically some of the tech-enabled visa routes in the UK. So you're welcome, Faith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Buddy, and thank you for the team. Thank you to everyone who's made this possible. Really looking forward to a fantastic session. And so, if Buddy wants us to go right in, then let's do so.
All right, then. Thank you, Faith, and thank you for doing this. Yeah, so we decided to take this session as more of a question and answer type of thing because we believe that that may be easier for some of our audience. So, Faith, what type of opportunities are available? And is it not too good to be true? Why are these opportunities available to techies today?
Okay, so Buddy, if you don't mind me doing this, I'd like to just be able to say hello to everyone who's on the call today. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for being here. So to answer your question, why this and is it too good to be true? I don't think it can be seen like that. So the first thing you need to understand is that there is a need. It's just the same way you've created the Emigrate platform and the Global Tech platform. It's the same way a country or countries, in existence right now have created platforms that are solving needs that they currently have. And so I would like to say that, let me use it, for example, the UK or any right-thinking country knows that there's a gap. So there's a skills gap, there's a technology gap, they're trying to be able to put themselves in a position, put the country in a position to be able to create a lot of wealth. And so when you see that that is a problem by itself, one of the strategies or one of the avenues to solve that problem is to attract talent that can create wealth in that economy. And so basically, it's just a need that is existing, and that need has to be solved. That need needs a solution. So it's nothing. I don't think it's charity. I don't think it's because they just want to do it or it's too good to be true. The actual problem they're trying to solve is to be able to create more wealth for a country, as any right thinking country should be thinking, anyways.
I know you threw some some shade there to a certain country.
Yep.
Anyway, but yeah, so what kind of opportunities has the UK created? Some of the ones you're aware of that you'd like to share with our audience.
Okay, so I'm no expert on everything. I know a few things. I'd like to congratulate you, Buddy, and your team. From my understanding, you have 3, 4 successes so far, and your this whole setup, is relatively new. So well done, well done, well done. So to dive right into the question, so some of the opportunities that exist, I'll kind of list them. So we've got the Innovator Visa, we have the Startup Visa, we've got the Global Talent Visa, which is AKA the Technician Visa. These three, there's still so much more. I know there's a recent one, I can't remember the name right now, but there are quite a number of other programs, but these three I'd like to talk a little bit about. So with the Startup Visa and Innovator Visa, they're pretty very much alike. It's centered around you being able to you've been able to bring investment into the UK. So you bringing investment into the UK and qualifying on an endorsement, not necessarily technician, definitely not even technician, but qualifying on an endorsement now enables you to take that route. If, however, you take the startup route, then that does not necessarily lead to settlement unless you begin to apply for extension and all of that. So the startup route would be about 3 years or 2 to 3 years, if I'm correct. And then the innovator route is well over 3 years. When you do over 3 years, then you can start to look at your indefinite leave to remain before you get a British passport. So that's the route on those two platforms. However, with a startup visa, you don't have any funding requirements. So when I say funding requirements, you are not required to bring any large sums of money into the UK to do your business. So it's not like you're going to give someone that money, but you're going to run the business with that money. But for the Innovator Visa, I believe it's a minimum of £50,000 that you necessarily have to do business in the UK for a certain time. That is sort of, I'm going very quickly about over this, but that's just the startup and innovator one. But when we go into the global talent one, which I think is very exciting, and I feel it's a gold standards when it comes to this relocation route, especially to the UK. However, it requires is that you have to be in a position to bring a lot of benefit, like we literally hitting the ground running when you get to the UK, and you have to be able to show the UK government that you can bring all of that benefit. The first step will be that Technation will give you an endorsement. It's only when you get that endorsement, then you can now apply for the UK visa. So that's generally how it works with the global talent visa. There's so many categories under the global talent visa. I know there's something for fashion, I know there's something for arts and culture, but for the purposes of Emigrate, what I believe Badi and his team are focusing on is generally to make sure that it's a tech-enabled pathway. So if you know, the vision for Emigrate is how to use technology to sort of help you on this journey to not just relocation, but to be able to put yourself in a better position to earn more, to raise your standard of living, and to contribute positively to your ecosystem
and to the world as well, actually, not just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think one of the questions that I've seen a lot and many people have asked is that, oh, when you people say tech, many people are assuming that they are talking about the technical side. I know you are not particularly in the tech side of tech. So I don't know if you would speak to that specifically to some of the people not in the technical side. They are not coders, they are not software developers, they are not in DevOps and several of those fields. What would you say to them?
So some of the things you mentioned, just yeah, you know what I mean. Like it just skimmed. I just, I thought about it and I'm like, yeah, you're mentioning some really big words. But before I go into that answer, if you don't mind me, I'd just like a couple of people on the call to just tell me what they do, and we could take it from there. So if you're on the call right now, if you could just put in the chat box below what you do for a living, what kind of path you're already on, what your career path looks like. It sort of helps us to be able to curate an open day that is specifically attuned and designed for you. So if you can do that for me, I'd really, really appreciate it. Please just put it in the chat box, what kind of expectations you have for this session. We do not want to be the only two people talking. I know that I'm the guest here, but I like to make it very interactive. So, Bade, if you could ask me your question again while I take some of the questions in the chat box, that would really help me.
Yes, and I would just say to our audience as well that if you have questions, you can also drop them in the chat box. We've muted you for now, but you can drop your questions in the chat box. Yeah, so my question was just something to the people in the business side of tech. What would you say to them? What would you advise them?
Okay, so welcome to my world. That's the first thing I would say. I'm not a techie. I'm very far from it. I started learning things like all sorts. I'll not mention some of the things I know now, but to hear me speak, you would think I'd become a techie at some point in my life, but you don't necessarily have to do that. What is most important is what you have as an asset, and the asset being that you create stuff. What can you create? What can you contribute largely to? And so if you're a project manager, there's a path for you. If you are in infrastructure, there's a path for you. So I'm looking at responses in the chat box. I just want to be able to use, so we've got a software developer, which is fantastic. Yes, and I have somebody very interesting in the DevOps track. That's fantastic. We've got a technology consultant. Hey, Fumi, Fikunayomi Aluku. Awesome. So I'm going to use, if you don't mind me doing this, I found somebody very interesting already. And not to say that nobody else is interesting, but I found someone interesting that I like to use to answer Buddy's question, which is
a software person.
No, it's fine. We don't necessarily have to put the person on the spot. I don't know if she's male or female. or he or she is male or female, but this person works in cybersecurity and is an innovation technology consultant, works with startups and businesses to leverage digital transformation. Honestly, that is a lot of big words. But I think what I understand by what you do is that you don't necessarily have to be the one who does the core coding or a software engineer or a developer. What that means is that you also take care of people in the tech space. That is a brilliant path. And one of all the paths that doesn't have to be focused on core development are also strong paths that you can take on this route. However, what is important is for you to show the kind of value you've added over the years. And so that value could be your speaking engagements, your contributions, your if you have any white papers, anything you've done, and you strongly show that you are a talent. You have strong leadership qualities. If you don't have strong leadership qualities, you are well on your way to developing strong leadership qualities. So all of that makes you a right candidate and the right fit. I have somebody I'm actually very interested in. I know that there's a plan for this person, and I think all of that will be communicated. That will be Abdulrazak Salahuddin. You can just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. So you are currently on the Global Tech Program as a DevOps infrastructure track. I think it's a brilliant track. I think there's so much you can do on that track. And so in essence, do you have any tech relations? So when I say do you have a tech relations, what would really help you and where Emigrate can really help you is if you are currently working for a startup that is technology based or technology focused, or a business that employs technology strongly in delivering its service or products. Then whatever role that you currently play in it, you have to show that you're a huge contributor, or you're a leading talent, or a leader in that particular role, or you're well on your way to it. And then you have to start to put yourself out. Those are the things that makes you the best candidate for this part. So Buddy, I'm sorry I took too much of your time. Sorry.
and you decided not to stick to the script, so which is also good. Right. I was hoping we could talk a bit about the people not in the technical side of tech. If you can see my screen, these are some of the skills that Tech Nation has published to say they are looking for you. So I'll just leave that on the screen for a few more minutes while we continue the discussion with Faith. So Faith, so in terms of these visas that we're talking about, can spouses, does it allow your spouse to come along? Does it allow your children to come along? How does that work?
Fantastic question. Yes, on almost all fronts. So how it works is you as a principal applicant, you apply for this visa. It is expected, it is expected in most cases that you have a dependent. What your dependents the classification for your dependents would be either your spouse or your children. So these people can follow you on that path almost immediately. So they would necessarily have to be your dependent. And that just answers the question. If you want me to go into a little more detail, Buddy, what I'd like to mention here is that in as much as the endorsement you get would be for you as an individual, as the applicant, as the main applicant. And then when you get the endorsement, depending on whatever route you take, the next steps will be for you to go ahead and apply for the visa itself. Two things are required there. You're required to pay an application fee depending on what route you took, and you're also required to pay your health insurance fees. So the health insurance surcharge is pretty significant. I think the very minimum you can do is 3 years, and I think you can do up to 5 years. If you want more details, you can send us an email. Well, you can send Paddy's team an email, and all of those details will be conveyed to you depending on what kind of path you want to take. But however, once you do that, if you're deciding that your dependents are going to come with you on your journey, what will happen is you're going to have to need to pay for that health insurance surcharge for your dependents. And Buddy, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they will need to they're required to also pay the application fee for that second leg of it, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you're required to do all of that, but yes, to answer Buddy's questions, your dependents, like I said, your spouse and your children and your children, depending on what it is for you, are allowed to be on to get on that journey with you.
And I would just add to Faith to say that for emigrate, most of the visa routes that we are tracking and that we are consulting on are the ones that allowed settlement and relocation and settlement. And by definition, for me, what that means is also that your family should be able to come along as well. There are visas that only allows you to go to the country, especially in Europe, right? But the ones that we are focused on from an emigrate perspective are the ones that allows you to settle in the host country. All right, Faith, thank you so much. I have a few more questions, but I think that we should allow our audience. If you have any question, it will be good if you send it via chat, and then I'll be able to read it out. So please, let's make the best of this 1 hour that we have together. As many questions as possible. We would like to take as many of them as possible. Faith, what about someone that hasn't done anything in IT? Is a beginner in IT, hasn't done anything at all. What can he do, and any advice for them?
Okay, thank you, Buddy. I think that's a very clean slate, and I find those people very interesting. However, there's a timing to it. There's a time factor that has to be involved, and the person needs to quickly understand what kind of path they would like to take. If the person doesn't have any experience of any sort, the person has to quickly decide, do I want to be the tech side of it, or do I want to be the business side of tech? So it's either you're doing core tech or business tech. When I say business tech, so that's Buddy shared a slide already where some of the roles or responsibilities that you would necessarily have to have in that category, have been sort of explained. But that's the first step. You need to be able to answer what you want to do with yourself. When you have that answer, the next step will be to plan your route. The route being that how long would it take you to get to your destination? Your destination either being that you just want to be able to land better roles, most likely remotely, or you want to relocate and you want to settle. So again, you're answering questions. So depending on these answers, you are now able to decide for yourself how best to achieve it. What I know that Emigrate does, for instance, being a part of a larger program called the Global Tech Program, is where you've decided on the path, you've decided on if it's settlement or being able to just land yourself, better roles internationally. What will then happen is for you to join the program, and where this program is taking you is just basically taking you to your dreams. If you decide to be the core tech person, there are resources available to train you, to develop you, to ensure that you create something amazing. While all of that is being created, it's also your responsibility to make sure that you're contributing to the tech ecosystem. It's also your responsibility to ensure that, all of the PR that is required for you to be out there, for people to know you, for people to understand what it is that you can deliver, is something you also need to consider. So that would be for the core tech. If you're a business tech person, pretty much the same applies. The only thing is that you're honing your skills. All of that is also very much available, depending on the track you want to take, of course. Very much available at the Global Tech Program, where I'll use, for example, a project manager. You're honing your skills, you're becoming better at what you do. You're showing that, you can lead projects, you're successfully leading projects and delivering on those projects. And, you're adding speaking engagements to it. You're adding, contributions, generally to it. All of that now, that puts you in a position to become to get to where you want to get to. Don't forget, we started on a clean slate. This is someone who is fresh, is a newbie at any of these two tracks. What happens then is when you've decided that this is where I'm going to, you've decided on a partner to take you there. One of the recommended partners here, of course, I would say the Global Tech Program. Then the next step would be, how long will it take you? So this is a question you will need to answer with your partner. So when I say partner, your consulting partner, this is a question you will need to answer. How long will it take you? As a newbie, I would say anywhere from, depending on how quickly you are able to develop yourself, I would say anywhere from a year and upwards. This is so that it gives you enough time to show the world what you're doing. It also gives you enough time to develop yourself really quickly. And it gives you enough time to put together a convincing application, and also to show that in that convincing application, that the application is a good it's a good image of who you already are or who you are becoming. And then you can now go ahead, to make the application. But you will need to take these 3 steps first before you can go ahead to.
Yeah, I think for the Global Tech program and Emigrate for a newbie, I think that would take about 2 years. Just to correct that, for a totally newbie that hasn't done anything at all in technology, but with what we do in Emigrate, what would happen is that depending on the things you've done in the past, some of those things may qualify, some of those things, and I'm going to share a few slides very soon where we will talk a bit more about that. Faith, let me ask you one more question. I'm not seeing, and then I'll jump into some more slides that will talk about the Technician Visa. What about an expert, 15 years experience, has done all sorts of things in the industry? What would be your advice to them as regards these tech-enabled pathways?
So for an expert in the industry who's over 10 years, who has over 10 years experience, my first question will be, how much of what you've done is in the public domain? That's the first question I'll ask you. And that's where we'll be coming from. How much of it is public? And if it's not public enough, we need to start to think of ways to make everything you've done in the past 10, 15 years very public. And then I think that what will happen next is to review your path, to review your track record, and see if you have become the expert that is required, as an exceptional talent or exceptional promise. I would strongly think that anyone who's done over 10 years or up to 15 years will be an exceptional talent. But however, all of that is also largely dependent on what your role has been, how much expertise you truly have, and how much of that is in the public domain.
Thank you for that, Faith. So I'll just ask that you please stay on the line. I'm sure some of our audience will still have some questions for you. I'll just take a couple of slides from on here just to talk about the particular visa we've been talking about. And I guess that would also help us to put everything in perspective. It's a visa that has been created by the UK government for a couple of years now. Initially, the visa they were only allowed to do 200 applicants per year. And the UK has about 60 million people. So think about just 200 every year, meaning that what you needed to be, you had to be top of your industry. But over the period of years, they've seen it work and they've been able to open it up now to say that you can apply regardless, and they can approve as many visas as possible. It's a tier 1 visa, and what that means is that it's a fast track to settlement. And within 3 years, if you qualify as exceptional talent, you would be able to apply for ILR. ILR is what the UK would call, ILR is indefinite leave to remain, and it's similar to what you would call a permanent residency. And after a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, you can actually apply for citizenship. So between when you get the visa and when you become citizen of the UK would be about 5 to 6 years. It's not only for technology. Emigrate as a service focuses on tech-enabled pathways, but I should mention that there are other pathways as well, and there are other industries as well that qualify. So there's science and medicine, there's engineering, there's humanities, and so on. All of them have the exceptional talent visa, or what is actually called the global talent visa. That's the new name for that visa. And of course, digital technology also is one of the ones where we have the global talent visa available for. And there's an endorsing body for that visa. The company is called Tech Nation. We expect in a couple of years, if not months, there will be at least one more endorsing body. But as of today, the endorsing body for that visa for digital technology field is Tech Nation. And there's a lot of information about this visa online. Now that we've mentioned it, for some of us that are not familiar with it, I would advise you to please just go online, read about it, read about some of the information about it, and so on. But what I would like to drill down on, because for example, Nigeria happens to be one of the top countries where applicants come from. But the question is, did you know about this visa before you heard about emigrate? There are several others. This is not the only one, but we are focusing on this for now. What I would like to focus on is, we've spoken a bit about this with the fact that there are skills that qualify from the Tech Nation visa perspective. The technical skill, so if you're a software developer and you've shown yourself to a large extent, you've shown yourself to a large extent as being skillful, being top of your career, they are looking for you. If you are in the business side as well, and you've shown yourself skillful, some of these are listed. You can take a screenshot of this, take a look at what you currently do. Is it listed clearly on this list? Because they are likely looking for you, right? One of the things I found is that many times when we say exceptional talent, many people don't realize that, oh, it's me they are talking about. And that's one of the problems, right? It's probably you we are talking about. To some of us on the call, what you just need is to be able to package the things that you have already done over the period of years. No, we are not asking you to do those things because you want to qualify for a visa. No, we don't want you to pretend. What we want you to be is to become exceptional and then be able to show to your host country that you are exceptional, right? And these are some of the skills that qualify. I would like to emphasize that there are several business skills listed here, project management, even VC investment, sales, and several others that are actually listed. However, there's something that Tech Nation says that they do not want. They don't want you to be in a service organization. They don't want you to be in an outsourcing organization or a consultancy. They are more particular, and those, if your experience is in a service-based company, meaning that you build software for many companies, you will likely not qualify. However, if your experience is, oh, I built this software that is a platform that many people are using, a company that is product-led, then you qualify, right? Same thing with outsourcing. So they don't want you to say, oh, they outsourced me to India today, they outsourced me to Morocco tomorrow, and so on. No, you will likely not qualify, right? However, if what you are doing is you actually built a product, either from scratch or you worked as part of a product, you will likely qualify, right? Something else you should know is that they are not looking for, from the business side, they are not looking for analysts, right? They are looking for people who are making the decision. Those are the people that they are looking for. And some of this information is in the public domain. How does the visa work? The visa, what you need to do is to show that you qualify under the main criteria. This changed recently in December. This is the latest criteria as of today. It changes very often, I must be honest. There were 3 changes last year, sometime in February, sometime in July, and then there was another change in December last year. We would expect a few more changes would happen this year, but this is the latest requirement. The first thing you need to show is that and there are 2 versions of the visa. I'm sorry, before I drill down into the requirement. There's the exceptional talent and there's the exceptional promise. The way it works is that the exceptional promise says that, oh, I'm about to become. You will likely become exceptional. And the exceptional talent says you are already exceptional. The exceptional talent says that you need to qualify under the leading criteria. What is the leading criteria? That you have been recognized as a leading talent in digital technology sector. That's what they are looking for. You need to have been recognized. And there are several ways in which you can show the fact that you have been recognized in the field of digital technology. Several ways, several ideas. Some of them we shared in the last open day. I'm not sure if we'll have enough time, depending on some of the questions we get. We may go back into some of those as well in today's open day, but we shared some ideas and I will encourage you to please watch the video from the last open day. Also, you need to show 2 out of these 4. The first one is that you show a proven track record. The track record is not 1 year. Your track record has to be at least 3, 4, 5 years if you're looking at exceptional talent, preferably 5 years, right? But the thing is that some of the things that you have done in the past in the field of technology is probably part of that 5 years, part of the things that will qualify. And that proven track record as a founder or senior executive of a product-led company. Or if you are not the founder or senior executive, as an employee in that field that is making significant impact. So proven track record. Number 2 is recognition. You need to show that you have been recognized in your field. What does that mean? It means that newspapers have carried your name. It means that you've been invited to speak at tech conferences, no matter how small. It means that, oh, you've been doing stuff. It means that, oh, your pull request on GitHub has been approved and you contributed something to WordPress, and so on. It means that you are the one building the community for DevOps. That's the plan for someone. You are the one building a DevOps community in Nigeria, no matter how small. The key thing is that you need to show that you are recognized and you've been recognized in your field of work. The next one is that you have made significant impact. This is slightly harder. If you notice the first 2, the first one being innovation, you just need to show that you have a track record of innovation. You are very innovative in your thinking and so on. The second one is recognition. Impact means that either your business has made money or has affected many people, tens of thousands of people. So you can't say that I built an app and 5 people and 100 people downloaded it. That may qualify under innovation. It will not qualify under impact. We are probably looking at, 20,000 downloads, 100,000 downloads, and of course, some sort of proof that it has impacted people one way or the other. The last one is more for people who are in the academic field, which is that you need to show exceptional ability in the field of academic contribution, that submission of papers and things like that. Exceptional promise is similar, just that it's slightly lower than the exceptional talent, right? And the truth is that even if you are new in the field of technology and you understand the things that you need to do, within a space of 2 years, you will qualify under exceptional promise, right? There are many things you need to do. There's a lot of hard work in it, but even if you have 0 experience today, over a period of 2 years and you do certain things, right, you will qualify under exceptional promise. And what are some of the things that they require? That you show that you've been recognized, right, as potential, meaning that you are going to become over in a period of time. Of course, and then some of the other things I mentioned earlier are some of the things that are required in you applying for that particular visa. You will need to do a personal statement, which is something that we advise that you do last. You will need to have relationship with well-established organizational leaders. You need to start building it if you don't already have that, because one of the requirements for this particular visa is for 3 senior members of known organizations to write a recommendation letter for you, right? And they would need to use the company's letterhead. You may think it's difficult, but if you are actually building a profile towards it, you will have met people, you will have contributed to different organizations, different leaders in the field of technology, and so on, who will be willing to write an endorsement, write a recommendation for you. The recommendation letter and all the other things will lead to TechNation giving you an endorsement. The endorsement leads to the visa itself. I would like to leave the last 15 minutes of this session for us to just ask if we have questions, and then if there are more questions, and then we can also do a few more discussion. I do have a few questions there. Okay, I'm back now. Sorry about that. I do have a few questions that have been asked as well that I would like to take. But yeah, so I see a question here that I would take. Can you hear me? Faith, am I still audible? All right, fantastic. Can one apply for the service while developing his skills and public appearance? Like a tech newbie will require at least 2 years of development. This is exactly what we are actually saying for the Emigrate program. We're saying that if you know that you want to relocate in a year's time, in 2 years' time, start doing some things today. Be clear on the things that are required of you. Be strategic in building those things. What the Emigrate service then does is handhold you to know the things you need to build and start building them. We won't build them for you, right? What we will do is the handholding. I mean, we will support you, we would introduce you to the right people, we would do several other things for you, but you will still need to invest time in doing many things. But you need to be clear to say, this is my pathway, this is how I plan to show that I'm exceptional. For example, one of the things we recommend for people within the Bincom Global Tech program is to join an open source project. And the reason is because if you're trying to do things that are enterprise, like Cisco and several other things, it's very expensive. But open source is free. And they are also asking you to contribute your knowledge for free. However, what you would need to realize is that as you are contributing those knowledge, you are building a profile for yourself. And because of that profile that you are building, you will be able to qualify in the future. Because what the UK government is looking for is people with track record. Like Faith said earlier, it's not for free. It's not too good to be true. They just realize that they need the best brains. It's the same reason why doctors are relocating abroad. It's the same reason why they are asking you to come. But they are not asking just anyhow people to come. They're asking for people that can show that they are leading talent. So Emmanuel, I hope I answered your question. You should be doing some things today if you think that this is a pathway for you. That's pretty much what we are saying in this open day. Faith, do you want to add to that? You're on mute, Faith. You need to unmute first.
I think you answered very correctly. I just wanted to see if there were any more questions, but yeah.
There is none right now, but I wanted to answer. Okay. So I wanted to answer one that was sent in, and it says that, where's the question? Oh yeah, what are my assurances that I will be granted a visa when I make payment for the Emigrate service? We are not making any guarantees. What we are doing is that we are showing you the way that you need to follow. We are handholding you on that way. Many of the things that we are sharing, at least at this point, are in public domain, right? You can look at it, you can look at the requirements, you can download it for yourself. What we do realize, however, is the fact that many Nigerians don't realize that they qualify for these things. Many people don't realize that, oh, this is available to me. And that's one of our objectives with this Emigrate service, with this platform, is to help people realize that, oh, if this thing, they are talking about you. You can be strategic enough about this for you to qualify. And there's not much for you to do aside from the things you should have been doing in the first place. What are we asking you to do? Get recognized within your small circle of tech. Let people start talking about you. Let newspapers start talking about you. Let online blogs start talking about you. Create an online blog and start writing some of the things that you're already learning. These are things that you should be doing anyway, right? Not because you are targeting getting a visa, but because you are trying to show that you are top of your profession, whichever way. So I believe that that's something that would help somebody on the call. I don't know if there are any other questions. At this point, if you can just raise your hand and then we'll be able to unmute you. if you have any question for Faith, or if you have any question for Buddy. I have a few others while we wait, but if anyone has any question, you can raise your hand. I will mute you, and then you can ask your question live, or you can type it into the chat box, and we will take the question from there. All right. While we wait for the questions, Faith, are there anything else you would like to add?
Yes. So what I was trying to do was I was quickly going to the website that you earlier shared with me. This is where you have the Emigrate pricing. And I wanted to also explain a little bit about the pricing, and just while anybody else is getting their questions ready. So to answer the last question that you tried to answer, in addition to the last question that you answered, where somebody asked if they made payments, would that be guaranteeing a visa? Nobody can guarantee you a visa in Nigeria. Only the UK government can guarantee you a visa. However, our role at Emigrate is largely dependent on the path you want to take. Our role is also dependent on how much effort or how much help you require. So if you check the service offerings, maybe what Buddy could do is in the chat box, he could put the offering, so the link to the pricing can be in the chat box so that you have a look at what the pricing is like. Buddy, if you could help with that. So basically, you've got some free services, which is I think 20 minutes of the consultant's time, who will be taking hand-holding you through the process. However, besides the free service of I think 21st initial minutes, what will happen is for the open day, there's a fee for that. If you want a personalized consultation, that also requires that you have a certain amount of time that's dedicated to the entire process for you. There's a fee for that. It would require an assessment, discussions of your path, ideas on how to achieve your goals. And then we have this. I think there's a standard package. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chubari, but there's a standard package where there's more of a comprehensive assessment. There's also a lot of advice, helping you put together your CV or business plan. All of that, you have to put it together, but there's so much review that will be done by the team. And then you have the premium service, which is all of the features of the standard package, as well as hand-holding you thoroughly throughout the program. So, and usually this will be over a period of 1 to 2 years. Then there's a customized service. So, all of this is just pointing to the fact that some people will require a lower level of work to be done, and other people will require, a lot of work to be done on them. So this is where all of that pricing differences comes in. And this is why this is also, definitely there's no guarantees on this. However, I think I mentioned it earlier, I don't know, for people who have just joined, that I'm actually very impressed with the Emigrate services, because I know it's a pretty young or this part of the business is young, and I know that you've had over 3 successes now, Buddy, and
Almost
how many
4.
applications so far? Tell us about your success.
We can talk about that offline. We want to wait to announce. Yeah, but we've almost done 4 successes now. So we've done 3, and then we'll have another one shortly. All right. But thank you, Faith, for bringing up the pricing. Yes, they know. Some people know that I don't like talking about pricing, but I can give an example of what someone may need for Emigrate. Someone with, let's say, years of experience and all of that, 15 years, already has everything put in place, and what they're just looking for is how to package this, what are the things that count, what are the things that does not count, and so on, may just require the personalized consultation. It takes just about 1 hour or thereabout, and what we are able to do within that time is bring everything together to say, these are the things that you need, If you already qualify, we would know because we will run through some of the requirements of the visas and all of that, and then be able to see what are the things that you already have or you don't have that may qualify for this. Depending on who it would also be that you need the standard package, which is going to be about 3 or 4 of those kinds of consultation. The first one being, what do I need to do? The second one being, I've started doing it. Am I on the right path? Third one being, oh, now we are ready to apply. What are the things I need to look at or not look at in that case? So yeah, that's in terms of the Emigrate service and pricing. And thank you, Faith, for putting me on the spot. But yes, those are some of the things that are available in terms of the Emigrate pricing and so on. Somebody said here that how do I apply for visa to Canada with my admission letter for postgraduate study? I would say that for us at Emigrate, we are focused 100%, at least at this point, on tech-enabled visa routes. So there are other routes available, many other routes, in fact. One of them being the student route. For example, in the UK, you can apply as a student. A few years back, the UK stopped giving people giving people additional visa after you finish your study, meaning that you have to come back to Nigeria. That has stopped now, so you can actually do some of the qualifying courses, and then of course you then go ahead to ensure that you stay in the UK for 5 years, and then you qualify for ILR at that point. Ensure you stay legally, whatever it is that you do. But I would say that this is not our own focus specifically for the Emigrate service. Our focus in the Emigrate service is about helping people to become globally attractive. The visa, the effects. The visa is a side effect of a globally attractive profile or a globally attractive company, right? If you're a startup founder and I see there's someone there that is a startup founder, there are things that your startup should do as well to get itself visible. Your startup could be your visa, right? Because one of the things that these countries have realized, and many of us have realized as well, is that if you're a startup founder, even if that your startup failed, you have learned many things. You have built many experiences over the years you were running that startup that will count for something else. This is the reason why ex-Facebookers, this is the reason why they build fantastic companies. This is the reason why ex-Googlers build fantastic companies, because there are many things that you have picked up over the period of time that you were building that company in the first place. So whether success or not successful, we hope you are successful. We hope you become the next Elon Musk and all of that. But even if not, there are things that you can do. Somebody else asked that, are there opportunities for a beginner Android app developer? And I believe that we've spoken a lot about that to say that whether you're a beginner, whether you've done a bit and then there's much more for you to do, or whether you're an expert, especially for this particular visa that we are focusing on today, there is a pathway for you and you can qualify. It's just a matter of time. Now, nobody is promising you to say, oh, go and apply tomorrow and then you will get the visa. No, this is not the point of the Emigrate service, and this is not the point of why we are doing this. We're doing this to say, build your own profile. Whether you choose to build it with us, Bincom, that is, with the Global Tech Program or the Emigrate service that came out of the Global Tech Program, or you choose to do it by yourself. What we believe is that just know the things that you require. We would share as much information as we can. We are creating something called the Emigrate Community. In addition to the Emigrate Circle, we're creating the Emigrate Community both on WhatsApp and on Telegram to just help people because we are not saying we have all the information as well. No, there are several and there's a lot. However, different people can stumble on different things. And so we believe creating a community around this as well would be important. The Emigrate Circle is still the premium service, but we're creating a publicly accessible Emigrate community as well. The link will be shared to you because you're part of you're on this call anyway. some of you are already in the Emigrate Circle anyway. All right, we just have 1 more minute. Faith, I don't know if you have any last words before we end today's session. I think we've taken every question that we've seen.
Okay, so
Any
what I
last
like
words,
to,
Faith?
yeah, what I like to say is that I've personally benefited from this, and I think it's a dream come true in many ways. Not because I actively sought this, to be honest. I'm a firm believer in my home country. I'm a firm believer in the assets that we are as, you know, as Nigerians. However, I also believe that it was a time to spread my wings. It was also a time to be able to develop and scale very quickly my business. And so that's part of why I looked into this. I want to say that the UK especially is a very supportive community. So I'm very pro UK, obviously, as you would notice. The UK is a very supportive. Some of the programs that, you know, have been put in place that bring you a lot of support and help you as an entrepreneur to settle into this ecosystem and, you know, and build your business out very, very, very quickly. So I think it's a worthwhile thing to take a look at. I think it's pretty brilliant, and I also believe that they're brilliant minds here. I believe everyone here is super brilliant. So some of the stats I've seen so far is just simply amazing. And so my ask is, what are you waiting for? You don't necessarily have to be a techie. Like me, I'm not a techie, but you could do the business side of it. However, what is important is that it's time for the world to know who you are and the kind of leading talents that you are. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Faith. By way of the Emigrate Open Day, next month we'll be looking at a different country than the UK. I think it's a match that we're having somebody from the US that has benefited from the US visa that I showed, the EB1 visa. We'll be having that. I think it's a match that will be having someone from the French Tech visa, and then we'll be having someone from New Zealand, their own visa. I forget the name now, sometime in May, and so on. So please watch out. We'll be having the Emigrate Open Day at least once every month for now. We may choose to change the timing over a period of time. Please, you can also note that the Emigrate promo is still going on. And the promo basically says that if you bring someone, if you refer someone for a particular service, yourself. So if you refer someone for a particular service, you get that service for free yourself. So please bear that in mind as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on this. We hope it's been very useful for you. You would get more information about some of the things that we spoke about today in your email as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you.